Hi guys, Alok Shrivastava, and this is again a second video on talk on localhost. If you remember, the previous video was in Hindi where I had explained about the DevOps, the benefit of DevOps, the learning curve of what you can do with the DevOps, the salary packages. I had talked on that, and believe me, guys, I got an amazing response of that, and a couple of you have said and requested that I should be creating the same video in English. So here we are, not in the official surroundings, at the comfort of my home, enjoying one of the the sunlight. Not so, just the end of the winter here in Delhi. So number one thing, guys, what is DevOps? That is first you need to understand. So I will be talking on three objectives. Who can do DevOps? What are the contents that you should be covering in DevOps? The salary packages, obviously, because at the end money matters. And finally, what are the common mistakes that the people are doing while choosing a course in DevOps? So these are the things I wanted to share. So let's start with the first thing, DevOps. What exactly it is? See, the DevOps, as the name says, it involves two words, dev and ops. Dev means the developers guys and ops means the operation guys. If you think about it, there are two teams involved in a company. One are the developers. Their job is to create the application, keep on adding new features in the applications. That is their job. They want new things, new updates, new features on your website or your application. They should be constantly available. That is the main purpose of hiring the developers. So as per the time the application or the website or whatever you are running, it should be updated. That's the main idea. Right, so they intend to keep on adding new features constantly, every day, every month. That's the idea. Then the second guys are the operation guys. These are the guys who are managing the servers. They want the stability on the servers. They don't want those frequent changes. So the developer guys want more changes and the operation guys want no changes. So that is a conflict of interest. So it takes a lot of time for a developer team to do some changes, do some updates, and then it takes again a lot of time to push those changes onto the production server. So the process was taking a lot of time. So DevOps is basically a idea or a concept to cut down that time from the drawing board of the developer to that particular application or the feature available on the productions, like the production servers. So the companies need to cut down that time. So it's a go no go thing. So we use certain tools or we use certain process that helps in streamlining from developers to the production guys. So that is what the DevOps is all about. It is solely aiming at saving the time, saving the cost, and giving the features to the client as fast as possible. It's no course, it's a business idea. Understand that. Another confusion is that who can do DevOps. So common queries that comes to me is, can I do DevOps? I'll give you a very simple logic behind it. Anyone can do DevOps. If you are a fresher out of college, you can do DevOps. If you are working as a desktop support engineer, working primarily on the Windows, and you wanted to move ahead into Linux and cloud computing, you can do DevOps. Any existing Linux sysadmin who has already done RSCSA and RSC level of training and now wanted to enhance the knowledge skills and jump into the careers, he can do DevOps. Any person who is not from an IT background can do DevOps, but yes, obviously he has to invest more time. And anyone who is not doing anything can do DevOps. Anyone can do DevOps. Second thing, do I need to be from a programming background, from an engineering background to do DevOps? No. There is no requirement or nothing like that you cannot do DevOps if you are not coming from an engineering background. Anyone can do DevOps. Like me, I am not from an engineering background. I had done BCom honors from Delhi University. And I was not at all a good student in academics. I used to play hockey. And I used to play hockey as a left out. So all my college time has gone into playing hockey, fighting, brawls, and all these things. You know what happens in college. And I was not at all a very intelligent kind of a student. So if I can do it, believe me guys, you can do it much better than me. Much better than me. So you need not to be from an engineering background. Any graduate, anyone can do DevOps. Simple as that. Second thing, the query that I came across. I don't have any programming background. Can I do DevOps? Yes, you don't need any programming background to do DevOps. If you had done some languages like C, C++ during your college time or your vocational time, which is good, which is okay, but that is no mandate. That is not mandatory that you should be having a solid programming background, only then you can do DevOps. Nothing like that. Anyone can do DevOps. No prior knowledge of programming or Python or anything, anyone can do it. So these are the common things. And anyone who might have altogether a different company, might be working in a call center or in a non-technical background. Now he wanted to enhance the career. Obviously they can do DevOps, but yes, they need to invest more time while learning the solid, like the foundation. Foundation means, I mean Linux. They need to give more time learning Linux. Once the base, the foundation is rock solid, it's very easy for them to build up and learn the DevOps technologies. But I would like to make it clear, anyone can do DevOps. You don't need to be from a programming background. You need not to be coming from an engineering background. Anyone can do it. Now let's come on to the very important part, the contents. The duration and the contents. What exactly you should be learning in DevOps when you say DevOps? What are the things that you should be learning in DevOps? As I have already said, DevOps is not a course, it's a business idea. So guys, the first step is the most important one. And the first step should always be a sound knowledge of Linux. So I will highly recommend you doing trainings like RSC-SA and RSC. That will be the first step. You cannot just move on to DevOps without doing Linux. Everything runs on Linux. So Linux should be your first step. And when I say Linux, that I'm not saying any crash course or a band-aid kind of solutions. Band-aids will not work here. Shortcuts, instant coffees is not going to help you in the career. You need to give time. You need to give your mind share in learning Linux very thoroughly. The more you understand Linux, the much better it is for you to understand the higher level things that you are going to learn down the line in your DevOps course. So first step is RSC, SA and RSC, but detailed knowledge, no crash courses please. Second, once you have done with the Linux part, you can move on to cloud computing. So I can recommend you going for Amazon Web Services, which should be your first choice based on the market share of Amazon. If you are looking for a job in telcos, that means the telecom companies, then you can move on to with the OpenStack and OpenShift. Majorly the telcos are running or they are working on OpenStack. So you can go for the hybrid cloud in case you are planning for a career or you are already working with a telco, then you can move on to the OpenStack. Otherwise, I will recommend you learning from a learning perspective, that technology wise, you should be going for Amazon Web Services. And the duration also, I'll just talk about the standard duration, the respectable duration. A respectable duration for a Linux course, RSCSA, should be around 40 to 50 hours. I've seen a lot of guys, they don't have time, they don't have job, and they don't want to invest the time also, and they want a job. Interesting logic. It's not going to work, not at all going to work. So you need to give time. So Amazon Web Services or OpenStack should easily and respectively take around 32 hours of training. So take the duration also in the mind. A company is not going to hire you just because you have got some crash course and they say, hey Alok, you're welcome, you have done a 16-hour course in DevOps, please take a seat and get a package of 7 lakh rupees, you are a fresher. Amazing. That is not going to work, not at all. So give time. So after your Linux, go for Amazon Web Services. Then you can, if you wish, you can go for Terraform, which is infrastructure as a code and is very much in demand. But it is an optional thing, whether you wanted to go for or not. It is solely up to you. But I can recommend you going for the Terraform. Once the Terraform is done, then you can move on to the configuration management tools like Ansible, Puppet. Move on to advanced things like Jenkins, the CI/CD pipelines, the Docker, the Kubernetes, the Git server, the version control things. These are the things the actual production servers are running on. So you should get a very good hands-on on these things, and a respectable DevOps course should take minimum 60 to 70 hours, minimum. Anything less than that is a band-aid solution. You don't need a band-aid solution. You need a permanent solution. So take care of the contents and the duration in mind. Linux, cloud computing, either OpenStack or Amazon Web Services, Terraform, Docker, Git, Jenkins, then you might be going for Kubernetes as well if you wish. So these are the contents, bare minimum, that you should be learning on. And in detail, when I'm saying these contents, I'm not at all saying a knowledge from a 36,000 foot perspective. You should be just doing a para-dropping there into the city, inside the technology, and handling the things. So once you have enrolled in the DevOps course, we should begin with end in mind. Begin with end in mind means where this course is going to land, right? So there are no more sysadmin jobs, understand that. We don't have sysadmin jobs anymore, and down the line there are going to be more or less sysadmin jobs. Companies are looking for the persons who will be able to manage the servers as well as do the automation on the servers, and should be able to do a lot of things. So the job profiles that you will be getting after doing the DevOps training might be the DevOps engineer, the DevOps architect, automation engineers. So these are the job profiles you are aiming for, not a normal sysadmin job profile. That is gone. So we are not looking for that. This is a new thing. The job profiles is altogether a different kind of a league. It's not a normal sysadmin which you can get by doing a training like RSCSA or RSC. You won't be getting any job currently just after doing RSCSA and RSC. There are no more sysadmin jobs. Companies are looking for automation engineers, DevOps engineers. These are the things that the companies are looking for. That will be the job profile. Now, talking about the salary packages, DevOps engineers, if you just Google DevOps salary packages in India, you will see a lot of companies are already working on DevOps. So names like your Barclays, your Adobe, and Bank of America and IBM and Orange and Accenture, Capgemini. These are a lot of companies who have already adopted the DevOps, and they are looking for guys. And the salary packages are also very good. A fresher can easily get a salary package from between 5 lakh to 7 lakh rupees, which is, I think, a very decent and a reasonable package for a fresher. And along with your expertise, you will be easily able to get a package around 11 lakh per annum and 12 lakhs, which is good. But now here's the catch. This is where I wanted you to focus and put your brains there. A company is willing to give you a package. A fresher can easily get a job profile of a DevOps engineer and get a package of around 7 lakh rupees, say 5 to 7 lakh rupees. But what kind of contents, what kind of course is capable of landing you in that position? That is the important thing. Do you really think that a course of 20 hours, course of 25 hours, course, I should not be saying about the money, but I can say course worth rupees 7,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees, people are doing DevOps. So do you really think a course of 15 to 20 hours course worth rupees 15,000 will be able to land you in a job of 7 lakh rupees per annum package? You need to think of that. That is one of the mistakes that the people are doing. But the packages are good, packages are respectable, and companies are willing to pay you the money provided you have got the right skills, in depth, in detail skills. Superficial knowledge of technologies, yes, I know EC2, I know Docker, I know how to install Jenkins. This is not going to work. No company is willing to afford a person with a half-baked knowledge or a superficial idea to be managing their data centers. No one is willing to take that risk. This is the important thing that I will be talking on it later in the video. The reason behind why I always say that the DevOps is very critical for all the big companies, that they are investing heavily in DevOps. I'll give you some of the real examples which I had just came across during my training to these companies. So recently I was talking to some guys who are working in Bank of America. Now understand how important a DevOps is for a company. How important it is for a company that the person who is using the DevOps tools, those tools managing their server, has very sound and thorough knowledge of the things. I'll give you one very simple example. I was talking to some of my students who are in Bank of America. They told me a very interesting fact. They told me they've got around 86,000 servers. Can you imagine the team size which is managing these 86,000 servers? 36 guys are managing 86,000 servers using those DevOps technologies and the tools. Think of it. Think of the gravity. Think of the importance of those 36 persons for Bank of America or any other company. So your crash courses, your banded solutions, your 16 hours of training, your 10,000 rupees of DevOps training for 20 hours is not at all going to give Bank of America that confidence that they can have. I hope I'm very clear in that. Sorry. Excuse me. So that is how important a DevOps is. So please change your mindset that normally I have seen people choosing a training and your training partner based on minimum price and minimum duration. Then don't expect the maximum salary package. Your package will also be the minimum. I might sound rude. You might feel offended, but that's the truth. I've seen it a lot of times. Recently, I've got a call from a student here. I'm not going to share the name. I was in Pune at that time. He told me he has enrolled in a DevOps course for 7,000 rupees. Can you believe a DevOps course of 7,000 rupees? Somehow he got enrolled in that DevOps course for 7,000 rupees. Within 16 to 17 hours, the course got finished and he also got finished. That is his words. The course has finished and he understood that he has learned nothing. Not just wasting the time, wasting the money. Not just like the time, wasting the money as well. Cost for you guys is not the money. Yes, it matters, but cost for you is more of the time. So 7,000 rupees DevOps. And he realized it when he had went for some interviews. They've asked the question and the guy has got no response. He told me they had finished Kubernetes in 6 hours. Kubernetes in 6 hours. This is what is happening. This is the catch. You are just looking at the price. Look at the cost to you. Don't do that. Give time. Another thing that I wanted to, that I'm coming across the kind of queries is, I want to do DevOps. You're welcome. But I don't know Linux and I don't want to do Linux. What kind of logic is this? You need to do Linux. You cannot do DevOps without Linux. And believe me guys, I am getting calls, I am getting queries, my counselors are getting queries that people wanted to do DevOps, someone has suggested them to do DevOps, but they don't want to do Linux. This doesn't happen guys, at least not in this world. For DevOps, you need to do Linux. For cloud computing, you need to do Linux. Linux is the foundation on which all these critical services run. You cannot afford to ignore Linux. Yes, but one thing is also true, only Linux is not going to help, but without Linux also it's not going to help. You need to learn Linux. So don't go for band-aid solutions when it is your career. I normally say one thing: food, education and health. Don't give subsidies. Give yourself time. And there are careers, there are very good careers. There is a very good money involved there. But crash courses are not going to help. The band-aid solutions for your careers are not going to help. So that is what I wanted to share in this talk on localhost in the English version. So I hope I was able to share my real life experience, what kind of things happening around you, where the technology is moving, where the jobs are shifting, what kind of packages. Companies are willing to give you the money provided you've got the right skills, that in-depth knowledge. Superficial knowledge is not going to help. That's all. I'm going to end this talk on localhost, the English version of the first episode, I can say. And I hope that you might be able to choose wisely. That's all. And I'll see you next in talk on localhost. Till then, bye bye, take care, God bless, Jai Hind.